It's my 2 cents with Bodie Morales, and right now we're going to debunk some of the posts that go online to see whether they're actually telling the truth or they're just spreading misinformation. Here we go.
Kamala Harris's numbers are dropping in the polls, and she just said in her own words, you saw the tape there, there is no difference between her and Joe Biden. The Biden policies, Bidenomics, all the things they champion are destroying the country, and everybody knows that, and that's why Donald Trump...
We should know.
Okay, so I'm not sure what video he's talking about because I just got this video, but I'm thinking that he's probably talking about the video from The View when they asked her, would she have done anything different from Biden in the past 4 years? And Harris responded, there's not a thing that comes to mind. That was interpreted by critics to mean that she's very little difference between her and Biden. So I don't know how that means that she's going to do things differently, but okay, let's give him that one. Okay, saying Bidenomics is destroying the country, that's saying a lot. Because many parts of the economy, job growth, unemployment, GDP have shown resilience. See, Biden added to the U.S. millions of jobs post-pandemic. So claiming that prices are still high without context is misleading. Now, inflation peaked around, let's say, 2022 and has since moderated. Though many feel that the damage is still, lasting. So that's a little bit misleading there.
Republicans are going to win the Senate and the House.
Mr. Speaker, we should note that FEMA funds were actually redirected on Donald Trump's watch to deal with the migrant issue. Let me ask you, you mentioned the medical records.
No, ma'am. No, wait a minute. No, hold on, wait a minute. Wait, facts are important. That is a new program that started in 2020 under Joe Biden. That funding wasn't necessary under Trump's administration because we secured the border. We didn't invite illegal aliens and dangerous people into the country. That's a Biden-Harris policy.
Okay, so here's why facts are important. Like he says, facts are important. Let me play what he said again.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. Wait, facts are important. That is a new program that started in 2020 under Joe Biden. That funding wasn't necessary under Trump's administration.
So, who was president in 2020? Trump was. Kamala and Biden did not take office until 2021. So how is it possible that they passed a policy a year before they were even elected?
I'll ask you about medical records since you raised them.
No, Kristen,
should Donald
we
Trump
did not.
release
That
all
is
of his medical
brand
records?
new account.
Should Donald Trump release all of his medical records?
He has.
Speaker?
He issued the records of his physicians. Kamala Harris issued her medical records as a diversion because she's desperate because she's sinking in the polls. Donald Trump's health is on display. Everyone in America can see it.
Okay, this is not factual. There's never been, his medical records have not been released. What has been released is a letter from the White House physician. In this letter, he says he's about 75 inches and about 224 pounds. So I'm 6'5", maybe 195, and you're telling me this is 224 with like 30 pounds difference? Come on, really?
In a time like this, we're in the most dangerous moment since World War II. You have to have strength. You have to have a steady hand. You have to have a commander-in-chief that our allies respect and our enemies fear. They do not fear Kamala Harris.
So 2 points here. I'm going to give him that. Saying we're in the most dangerous time since World War II, that's not really a hard fact. But, in other words, it's not far-fetched either. Right now, there's more wars actually happening since World War II. You got a lot of big tensions between superpowers, and even scientists who track global threats say we're closer to disaster than we were ever before. So while it's an opinion, it is a real warning that the world feels a lot more unstable and riskier than it has in decades. Now, the fact that he says that world leaders respect him and his enemies fear him, there is no poll or provable fact of that. What is true is that they find him, a lot of world leaders have find him difficult to work with and unpredictable. But there is no poll out there saying that people fear him or respect him. That is just basically talk. That's all that is. There's no real proof of that.
A lot of heat, and he deserves some of it. I'd love to explain more in depth of some of his policies, but that's something I'd have to do on a completely different channel. because I would have to take an hour to talk about it. But I don't have to take an hour to talk about how many wins he posts here. First off, calling out Kamala Harris is always a smart idea. Reminding that the viewers on Meet the Press that, hey, Kamala Harris's poll numbers, they keep dropping, all right? And that's the truth. There's been reports recently from internals in her campaign that they're running scared.
Please show me those internal reports that's saying that they're running scared. Where is that fact? Where is that actual data that they are? Because I can't find it anywhere.
Now, granted, there's a lot of data out there and no one really knows what's going on, but...
Wait, what? No one knows what's going on? Bro, really?
When something sounds right, typically it usually is. It's sort of like English. When you say something wrong, it'll click in your mind and go, no, that wasn't right. So, of course, pointing out Kamala Harris's plummeting poll numbers, great strategy. Point for you. Then, talking about Donald Trump's cholesterol levels. Okay, first off, we're dealing with Meet the Press, which is part of NBC.
I like how he nitpicks here. We were not only talking about Donald Trump's cholesterol, we're talking about releasing his full medical records. But it doesn't work for his narrative. He wants to solely pick, okay, they're just talking about cholesterol. No, it was a full medical records. But she also was throwing in cholesterol and all this other things that we need to know about the president to make sure that he's healthy. But just saying cholesterol, no, he nitpicked that one.
Years that Joe Biden has essentially just kind of lost his mind. And once he got up on that debate stage with Donald Trump just a few months ago, the media could no longer hide that. And they went on this blitz almost saying that, oh, we didn't know Joe Biden was this bad. Look how bad Joe Biden is. We didn't.
Okay, so I'll give him this point. That debate with Trump, yeah, Biden looked out of it. He looked crazy. Thank God that he had to step out. His mind wasn't there. But saying that the media had to warn us or anything else, he was always on TV. There was always interviews of him doing that stuff. So we never really saw an interview of him, going out there and not even being understandable like he was in the debate. So for him saying, no, the media had to warn us, no, it's just common sense. Just look at him.
No, maybe we need to consider other alternatives. And it was this dirty, disgusting flip of the switch because they knew that they could pull the rug out from underneath his ankles and have no culpability for themselves. And so, for someone who is as swarmy as a reporter on NBC, who has hid that very information from the American people, that Joe Biden is just been mentally gone for years now, is now looking at Donald Trump and going, maybe his health isn't good. We hid the truth from you last time, but let's look at the truth this time. I'm sure it's the right time. Maybe it's not really that different.
I'm sorry, is MSNBC or the news able to give a medical diagnosis on someone that they need to hide it? That sounds ridiculous. Okay, the media doesn't do that. Okay, let's clear up some facts here. No president. They should restructure this. No president after 60 should be freaking president. You got Trump wearing diapers. Biden shouldn't be president. Trump shouldn't be president. We need to lower that down to at least 65. I mean, there's things that where Trump does an interview and he's ranting on and he's talking about Arnold Palmer's dick and all this other stuff. Like, what the hell is that? There's video of him ranting on and going on berserk. So yeah, there's stuff with Biden and there's stuff with Trump. Both of them should not be president. They're too old. Their mind isn't there. So picking one over the other, no. Both of them, forget about it.
Are you kidding me? These are the people that hid the truth from America the first time around. So no, you don't get to do that, MSNBC. The adults are talking right now.
Okay, the only news organization that has been caught lying and has been sued is Fox News. Now, in 2023, Fox News agreed to pay $787.5 million to Domineer Voting System to settle a defamation lawsuit. That basically means that they're lying. This was false claims that their voting machines were used to steal the 2020 election. So yes, the only news that actually lied was Fox News. No other news organization has been caught in that. Not saying no news station does not lie, but at the same time to say that one constantly lies and no, the adults are here. No. Fox News has been caught lying, but he doesn't bring that up.
Okay, that adult right now is Mike Johnson. And instead of chiding her, as he should have, for hiding the truth about Joe Biden, you know what? I take that back.
Okay, so what truth has she hidden? She was asking questions and bringing up points. She wasn't hiding any truth.
He could have done that, but there's actually a better way. And that's exactly what he did. He said that America doesn't care about the cholesterol levels of Donald Trump. Now, I want to be a little bit honest here. Trump worries me a little bit. He looks like he's lost a step. And it's not like in the NFL where your cornerback or your receiver just doesn't look as fast as they used to, and they can't deal with it and they just shut down forever. That doesn't quite happen in politics. That happens in the NFL. Because once that cornerback loses his edge, he's gone. Remember Julio Jones? Julio Jones lost a step when in his last year with the Falcons, got injured, and I think he's had like one touchdown since then. The dude needs to officially retire. I can say that as a Falcons fan. And I'm sporting the red and black, not for UGA, but for the Falcons. Ultimately, what we have here is a situation where a media could be honest. A media could care. And instead, they talk about the irrelevant things like Donald Trump's cholesterol levels. Yes, he could probably lay off a few of the Big Macs. But he also works about 20 hours a day. This is well known, well documented. His family will tell you that, his staffers, even the ones that don't.
Okay, he does not work 20 hours a day. An analyst for the Trump presidency, his office hours, found that he averages about 6 hours and 2 minutes between his first and scheduled appointments during his presidency. The claim that he works 20 hours daily is not supported by solid evidence or official records. I'm 51. I could barely work 8 hours a day. I fall asleep most of the time. So I'm not sure how this man, overweight, what is he, like 70, and he works 20 hours a day? Come on, bro.
I'll make this brief because I talked about this in another video. There's been this weird media obsession ever since Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene destroyed multiple states, that Donald Trump in 2019 took funds from FEMA and reallocated them to the Department of Homeland Security. What he did was exactly that. But where did that money go in the DHS? Well, it went to make sure that migrants were showing up to their court dates. It went to strengthen migrant detention centers, and it went to make sure that there were more border security and basically more safeguards at our border.
Okay, so he's actually factual on that. That did actually happen.
Compare that to 2024, where in a La Nina year, after one of the heaviest El Ninos we've seen in a while, we were expecting some major hurricanes. We've been lucky so far until the month of October, where we got back-to-back just slaps in Helene and Milton. And instead of waiting to reallocate funds, in early August, Joe Biden said, hey, Mayorkas, you know the guy they tried to impeach? Why don't you take the funds and just use them how you want to? Yeah, you can take them from FEMA. We don't need them this year. Well, it turns out now that we do need those funds. And it's because of bad leadership, poor decisions, and bad predictions. Granted, you can't always predict the weather. But in a La Nina system this heavy, compared to 2019, where it was a very weak El Nino and a very weak La Nina, you should be smart enough to say, let's hold on to FEMA money. Now, that's a mouthful to talk about. And so Mike Johnson is sticking to easier things because these videos don't last that long. These interviews are meant to be 5-6 minutes. So if you get into the weeds on something, you're going to lose the audience, or at least on mainstream outlets. And it's why Mike Johnson is doing his job and just destroys this reporter on Meet the Press.
Okay, this is where he messed up. He was going good for a while. He had me. But look, there's no real evidence that Biden gave Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, the power to freely spend FEMA or hurricane money however he wanted. Now, let me tell you what actually happened. FEMA funds, the way it works, are controlled by laws in Congress. No president or cabinet member can just say, legally, use them as they please. The Biden administration has used FEMA money for hurricane recovery, rebuilding, and disaster areas after storms like Helene and Milton, which is exactly what the funds are used for. Now, politicians and media outlets accuse Mayorkas of using the money on border immigration program, but no proof of government records supports that. You know, you got oversight reports show that the money went to storm cleanup, housing repair, and emergency relief funds, not unrelated projects. So the claim that Biden let Mayorkas use hurricane money however he wanted, it's not real. It's not factual. It's just basically political talk. This has been my 2 cents with Brody Morales, and next time you see one of these posts, make sure you separate opinion from fact and use common sense. That is the easiest way to detect misinformation.